I'm Noah Horton, the CEO of Unsupervised.com, the largest vendor of unsupervised AI software. I'm doing this series of videos, taking a bunch of the conversations that I'm having with customers and partners right now about how to think about analytics in the COVID era and just sharing them with the world. So yesterday I talked about use cases, in particular focus areas for analytics teams during this. Today I want to talk about time. So everybody's pretty focused on the immediate term right now, but really the organizations that are thinking about how all this plays out are talking largely about three eras. So one is the COVID era, what we're in right now, where COVID is the word being used in everything, and we're all very deeply focused on this. We don't know exactly how long that's going to last, and obviously that's one of the biggest questions. Optimistically, maybe 4 weeks, but this could be 6 months very easily as well. We don't know. So that's the COVID era itself. Then we're going to go into another era, which we're calling the transition era, where we're going to be moving back towards some sort of normal and out of the COVID era. Again, we don't know how long that's going to take. That might be very fast. It might be something that's sort of rolling across the country. And then we're going to have the post-COVID period. And that'll be a normal. It's not clear if it's going to be the same normal that we came from, though. And that's, again, one of the big questions. So those are the three eras to think about this around. Now, what I'm finding really interesting is that when we have conversations with these teams and these companies about what to be focusing on through those, the actual skills to focus on in all of them are the same. It's all about how fast can you find insights in your data, and then how fast can you act on those insights. So think of it as time to insight and then agility. So let's look at that in those three periods. So in the immediate period of the COVID era, the time to insight is on a bunch of fronts. A lot of it is about what are my customers doing right now? I need to be able to know this minute and be able to plan ahead as fast as possible. And then it's similar stuff across other things like supply chain and everything. But I need to be able to find that stuff that's going on very quickly because I need to act on it oftentimes for existential reasons. I've got a cost structure that's just not appropriate for what's happening in the market right now. I need to be able to understand what's happening so that I can change costs, so that I can change investments, so that I can do all those kinds of things. And as everybody's pretty clear on, days matter during this. So again, it's time to insight on this, and then how fast can I act on it? Now that's going to continue through a bunch of the COVID period because we're going to keep seeing changes in the business. As COVID develops, as it moves through areas, all of these are going to be changing rapidly. So it is going to be important that as organizations, we just keep up that cadence of finding out what's going on fast and acting on it fast. Now, in the transition period, we're going to start having a lot of changes again, but they're going to be different ones. They're probably going to be very positive ones now of spending coming back. And a lot of good stuff coming back, but it's going to be inconsistent. It's going to happen in some places before others, in some categories, in some parts of the business. And what's really important about this is it's going to be the transition period where a lot of the winners are really crowned. The people who are able to recognize where that increased revenue is coming from and get ahead of it and act on it and be able to back up everything else in the organization to be able to supply what is needed there, those are going to be the organizations that pick up market share through all of this. And so again, it's going to be an issue of things are going to be developing day by day there. So we need to be able to get to those insights fast and then act on them fast. And then in the post-COVID world, same skills are going to apply. And a lot of what it's going to be is that it's going to be about getting to the nuance of what's happened very quickly, where the new normal, I don't think is going to be the old normal. I think it is going to be a situation where we need to be able to find the few places where it does look like the old normal, and then the nuance of all the places where it doesn't. And the faster we can get to that, and the faster we can rally the organization around better serving that new normal, well, the better position you're going to be to gather more market share and maintain that market share. So it's going to be the same skills through all of these. So a couple of interesting things that come off of that. One is it's never too early to start investing in those skills. They're going to serve you well through all of it. So even if it's something where it's an effort that's not going to actually be online in the next 2 weeks, it may still make a lot of sense to be doing if it's giving you those skills that you're going to need through the rest of time. Then the other thing that I think is important about this is there's a simplicity in this of those being the core skills and an understandability of these eras that I think is a good way to communicate with both your team internally to the analytics organizations and to the broader executive team and company. So internally, it's very straightforward to rally people around these two things. You know, every interaction we have, I want to see you focused on how fast can we get to these insights, and then how can we support the business in being able to act on these fast? How can we give them the detail they need, the specificity, all those types of things? So that's what people need to be focused on in terms of skills internally and sort of how they do their job. And then what's going to change is where they are applying those skills. So, you know, it is going to be in the immediate term, 80, 90, 100% about the COVID era. If the company is one where it's really at existential risk right now, yeah, you're probably 100% focused on what can we do right now in the COVID period. If you've got a little bit more comfort, you know the company's going to come out of that, you've taken some of the first steps you needed to, well, then you can be, you know, maybe 80-20 or 70-30, starting to think about that transition period as well. And then there's some organizations that I'm talking to who came into this in a very strong position. And really, they're certainly thinking about the COVID period, but it's only maybe 50%. Really, the other 50% is on that transition period and the post-COVID era, because they're looking at this saying, this is our opportunity to come out in a much more dominant position. We're going to focus on being set up for success when we get into the transition and post-COVID periods. So again, this is a great way to communicate what everybody needs to be focused on, to be telling the rest of the organization what you're going to be doing, the skills you're going to be honing, and where you're going to be focusing. So thanks for dropping in on this and being part of the conversation. Would love to hear any questions that anybody has, and hope everybody stays safe.